All right, hello everyone. We are back for a golden shot tutorial here. This is going to be for the Greenoch Point course here, and this hole 1 last tournament. You'll see we have done this before. I'm going to go ahead and go over it. I think it's a newly changed slope. It seems to roll just a little bit extra short, like in front of the hole down this slope than it had in previous tournaments. You guys remember this one from the Royal Open last year. I know we had it there, and the slope seems to be just a little bit changed. It's almost like they put just a little extra towards the back of the green that just causes it to kind of roll forward just a little bit more. If you guys have seen me play this on Tour Play, the way that I play it on the Golden Shot is very different. So one of the things that we're going to be using first off is the driver, and you'll see that the ball guide is very limited. That's one of the reasons that I play it differently. So what you really want to do is try to crank up the backspin as much as you can. When you raise your backspin amount, what that does is it kind of creates a little bit more control, and with having no ball guide, that's what's going to kind of help you to kind of create ball guide. I also am going to try to kind of curl a little bit more than I do. What I usually try to do is get it just kind of flowing along the fairway. It's a little bit harder to do when you don't have any ball guide whatsoever, because the wind's going to be changing every time. You're going to have to kind of adjust your normal starting position. What you're going to see me do is I'm going to try to put it as forward as possible in every scenario. So for instance, if I have a tailwind, I'm going to be able to put it at max. If I don't, and I have a headwind, then I'm going to need to kind of scale up towards max. So I'll try to account for that and kind of change my spin a little bit. But that's what I recommend. It's really going to be kind of a very, very lucky shot for the most part. But also there's going to, be some skill element as well. You'll see that the ring here, accuracy 83, it's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 1.3 per ring. So all ring adjustments, somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 on the high end to on the low winds, probably in the neighborhood of 4. So somewhere between 4 and 6 rings. Keep in mind that there is a huge elevation difference here. Moving to lower ground is going to kind of make you want to kind of underplay the rings a little bit. Moving up into the snow to the left is going to make you probably want to almost add on an extra ring. Just because you're moving the target to higher ground causes the shot arc to be much higher. It actually gets more wind effect that way. So keeping that in mind, aside from that though, we are going to play pretty much between 4 and 6 rings. But as I mentioned, here you can see it's almost towards 6, but I'm only going to play it maybe towards 5 because of moving it down towards this sand. You can see that I'm moving it down a good 5, at least 5–10%. It's a substantial drop down here. So what you're going to see me do, I'm going to use max. I'm going to use 1 backspin here, and I'm just going to try to predict this backstop here. And as I mentioned, we're going to go roughly about 5 rings here. Addition to that, I'm actually going to use quite a bit of curl. It's something that I usually don't do, but what I find for this golden shot is it just kind of helps. And this time it kind of checked on the green, so this isn't going to make it down there. It is going to be kind of a challenging shot to pull off, to be honest with you. To come outside the shot circle there was kind of a bad break. It would have been nice to have that bounce. What I like to do is have all those kind of initial large bounces done before the green. Since it just clipped onto the green, you can see it checked on the last bounce. Kind of got very unlucky there. So that's okay. We'll try to kind of improve upon that. got to start somewhere. And, with that in mind, I'm going to definitely, in the upcoming shots, we're going to try to make just kind of modifications on that and try to get it kind of set on those first 3 bounces before it gets to the green. So similarly here, you can see it's not quite a tailwind. We're going to probably use just straight side spin. And what you really want to be looking for is kind of how the shot arc's going. You can see that it's going to probably kind of go up in this fashion, which is kind of what we want to do. So that's what you want to really do with your setup. As I mentioned, I'll probably try to underplay just a little bit here. And again, we're going to definitely try to put this curling piece in place. This will also kind of, keep you from going up too high. And you can see this time it's much better. It's flowing smooth as opposed to getting that checkup bounce. However, you're still going to run into the same issue where it just kind of cuts in front of the hole. So you can see that was coming in there very close. It almost caught that amber ring there. But I was just short on being able to get it. But let's see what we get. Oh, some nice castaways. That's one of the biggest complaints that I have about these chests. I really do think that they should, modify the way that they run these to do, Tour 4 or higher, especially at this difficult level, because it's very, very hard with no guide to be able to hit this. What you're going to see here, you can see that we have a huge headwind. So I'm going to change the way that I spin. Here you can see that I'm cranking it up almost to 3 and still trying to guess kind of that positioning. You're also going to see that I'm just going to kind of overplay here about 5 rings. So you can see I'm right at max. There's +1. And again, always probably going to have some curl. I was hoping not to hit a great ball. However, what's nice about this is you shouldn't need to hit your perfect ball every time. This isn't quite coming in with the momentum I would like to see. So it might just catch the last ring. And that's one of the... almost. So just stop short of funneling down there. I think it's, relatively smart to be cautious with your spending here. Another thing that you can do is you can actually go through the trees there and do a rough bump approach. It's a little bit challenging. It would require perfect ball, and it's really, really hard with winds this large. So it's probably best to just play this slope. It's almost probably best to even kind of skip this one. It's kind of a very hard, especially, with the changes I think they did to this green. I'm almost positive because it's just not running out the way that it used to towards the hole. So, with that in mind, skipping this one, is if that's what you want to do, I have no, reason to try to tell you need to do this one. Here you can see I'm going to go right about 6 rings here. That's kind of, a little bit of that overplay that I was briefly talking about. And here you can see that it's shooting down. Also, same kind of thing. It's just kind of hitting this hill just a tiny bit slower. Let's see if I can get just enough roll out this time. Nope. So you'll see that it's almost like they created like a little depression there. It used to kind of feed towards the hole, but now you can see that it kind of, if you zoomed in on that last one, you could see that it kind of almost went uphill at the end, and it right short of that last ring, it just kind of levels out right there. I'm almost sure this depression that you're seeing right there that I was just kind of pointing to at that last second was never there before. So I do think that they kind of modified this a little bit, and it kind of makes things just a little bit tougher on you to actually get this one close. So, kind of spending your money on this one is as challenging as it is, may or may not be worth it, to be honest with you. Another thing you can try to do, especially when you get winds like this, is you can try to get a little bit more aggressive with your approach. Since you can, and I'm going to go about 6 rings again here, You can see that I'm kind of up here. I'm just going to move it down to a little bit lower ground. But another thing that I can do is I can try to get very aggressive with the way that I kind of curl it around here, especially on winds like this, to just try to get just a little bit of extra momentum. You see that I also brought it up high on the hill. I think this might actually sneak in to the, nope, cut too much in front. So you can see that it's just very, very challenging to get this one on plane and actually give it the momentum. It just seems to kind of change the way that it was doing from previous versions of this hole, and it's much more challenging now. I struggled with this all tournament, where it used to be a very easy ace. It was almost guaranteed in the Royal Open. So with the changes that have been made, you know, as I mentioned, that this is, you can still pull it off. It's still aceable, but it just needs to be a lot more perfect than it used to have to be at the Royal Open. So let's take a look here. I'm going to do 5 rings. You can see kind of what I'm doing with my slope there. We're going to try to get this up real high again. I'm going to do it with some more curl. Just try to modify just a little bit what I just did and just try to shoot it down along the green a little bit more. Kind of like this. Yeah, that's more or less what I was looking for here. So I do think this is going to at least approach the amber ring. And let's see if I can kind of sneak in here. So just short. You can see how challenging it's going to be. It almost seems like it's kind of that ring set up maybe like a ring and a half or a yard and a half. So you see how close you really have to get in there. And with no ball guide, it's really quite the challenge to do so. Again, I'm going to try to kind of bring it in with that extra curl just to give it a little bit more momentum. You can see with the headwind, I'm going to start to crank up my spin a little bit and try to get it, you know, definitely towards the back of the slope, so you can kind of see what I'm doing with my ball guide there. And we're going to do right about 5 rings here, a little bit more, just because it is a headwind. We're going to do this curl again, see if we can't get some very good momentum kind of coming off this hill. See if we can't force this one into this ring. Again, it looks very good, like it's going to at least approach the red. But the question is it going to have the momentum to carry in? It looks like it did. So I was just able to sneak in there. You can still get this ace, but it just requires a level of precision that you never used to need. So as I mentioned, you know, if you guys want to go ahead and skip this one, you know, more power to you. I think it's, you know, kind of pointless to kind of play in hopes of just this miraculous shot that you have no control over. You know, we're basically letting the hill dictate whether or not, you know, we make it, which actually gives the game a little bit more of a rigged feel. You know, it feels kind of fixed because it's almost like, well, is their algorithm going to push out a success for us? Because we have no control of our own destiny. It's essentially using the slope, using the hill. And as I mentioned, with the new changes, it almost cuts in front of the hole no matter what you do. Where you used to be able to get it online much, much easier, especially when you brought it in with that forward momentum that you're seeing. I used to be able to get that cutting towards the hole instead of in front of the hole. But good luck with that hole, no matter what you guys decide. I wish you guys all the luck. Hopefully you guys can get that ace. Let me know how you do, and thanks for watching.